This is just a quick little tutorial on how to make a logo for your movie. So let's start off with firing up Photoshop. So it might be down here in the dock, or if you hold down the command key and tap the space bar and type Photoshop, it comes up. I'm going to hit return. And then Photoshop, it will start running right here. And then the first thing that you're going to get is you're going to get an intro screen, and you're going to select new for a new document. Create new. Now across the top you'll see that you want to pick film and video, and these give a whole bunch of presets just for television. We want HDTV 1080p. When we click on that, we'll name this later. We hit create. Good. And you'll see that we have the edges of a television, and that's what these blue guides are for. It actually, this one here is to show the edges of a smaller TV, and this one here shows the edges of a larger television. And so that way you can make sure that what you put on there is actually going to show up on your TV. So I want you to hit the letter T, and or you can click on this T right here. That's the text tool. And the text tool is, it needs to be fairly large. So up here, we're going to say that it's going to be 200 points. I clicked in here and said 200. Alright, I hit return. I'm going to zoom back out, and I'm going to click here in the middle. It gives you some nonsense words right here, and you are now going to type the logo for your movie production company. So Bruce Tyrrell. I'm going to hit return. Productions. Oh no, it put everything over top. Well, that's because of the settings in right here. See these guys? This is the character and paragraph panel. This one right here. So if I click on it, it shows me the paragraph panel, and right now the area is called leading. So if I have to select actually all of my stuff. I go Command A to select everything, and I can bring it down. See how I hovered over top and it gave me these little double arrows? That allows me to hover over top and change any of these things, and you can do that throughout Photoshop. Once you have it looking the way that you want with the text, then hit the check mark, or you can actually hit the enter key, which is way over on the far right of your keyboard. So I've got that. Now you want to move this around and put it in the middle, so click on the move tool, which is the letter V. Letter V is the shortcut, and we can now click on this and move it around. Okay, by the way, if you've got auto select turned on, then you will have to, when you click, you have to make sure you absolutely click on your letters here, because if you click on the white part, it picks your background. Okay, all right, so now I think that's pretty good. Now we're going to actually make some adjustments here, and we're going to play around with some of the settings. I'm going to click on this arrow in order to put away these guys. I'm going to double click on, not on the text for Bruce Tyrrell Productions, but I'm going to actually click over here on the right hand side in the empty spot. When I do that, it brings up my layer styles, and this is so cool. You're going to love this. So click on bevel and emboss. You see what it just did? It added those in there. So I'll undo it. See that? See how it's adding that in there? It gives it a 3D effect. It's kind of cool. If you want to play with the different settings for that, you can click on bevel and emboss, and you can change the depth of it and the size. Whoa, look at that. Oh boy, changing that big time. Look at that. Okay, or I can soften it. You can do all sorts of things to it. It's actually really neat. And if you decide, you know what, I don't like this at all, just turn it off. That's fine. I want you can play around with all of these different things. There's a crazy amount. Like add in outer glows and drop shadows and everything like that. I love drop shadows actually. So I'm going to increase the size of this drop shadow. Put that in there, and maybe I'll put it on a bit of an angle. So I put it around here to like that. There you go. Okay, so now I've got this the way that I like for my logo, but in order to put it into my video, I want to get rid of that background. So I click on the background. It's pretty darn simple, and see this trash can down here? I can click delete layer, and then it will delete it. Awesome. This background now right here, this little checkerboard thing, means it is transparent, and I can put it over top of anything I want. If you don't want that, if you want a nice color in behind, I'm just going to undo what I've done. Actually, if you go to the history window right here, this shows all the things you've done. I'm going to back up here, put away the history window. I'm going to click on background, and instead what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the paint bucket, which is it's underneath this gradient tool, paint bucket tool. And then I'm going to select a color that I want. I'm going to go with blue, say okay, and then with the paint bucket I'm just going to click on the background, and there it is. One thing that you really need to keep in mind is that you are in the background layer in order to paint on the background. Seems kind of obvious, doesn't it? But a lot of the things in Photoshop go wrong when you're not in the right layer. Okay, so now we need to save this into your project folder. So we're going to go File and pick Save As. And then you're going to need to go into your Google Drive, Comtech, Video 1-2 if you're working in Video 1-2. And we're going to give it a name. We're going to call it Logo because we're not that creative. And I'm going to actually put this in my media folder right in here. Okay, I'm going to hit Save. Awesome. And there it is. It is now there to put into your production. And now you can see here that I am now in Premiere Pro, and down here I'm going to import the project in. So I hold down the Control key and I click here and say import. If you can't do that, don't worry, just go up to File and say import, which is also Command I. Many ways to do it. And so now we need to weave our way back to where we were before. So we go to Google Drive, Comtech, Video 1-2. I threw this in the media folder, and here is logo.psd. Now when I hit import, it's going to ask me if I want those layers, if I want them merged. And no, I don't. I want to have individual layers. And by the way, you can, if you decide, you can turn off your background and stuff. So make sure you have individual layers, say OK. And then it imports it in as both. So see, we've got both the foreground and the background. So if I want, I can put them in. I'm going to actually throw this in, make a new sequence there. Throw that in. See here how I have my production there. And if I want the background, I drag the background. I'm going to put up here. You can pick your in points and your out points exactly the same way as you did before. And I'm going to throw it in. I'll throw it in here so you can see that I now have a background. But in other places, I don't. Pretty simple. Okay, and that's it. That's how to make your logo.